Okay, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for the virtual public information meeting for Project 63-731 for the rehabilitation of Bridge 5868 carrying I-84 eastbound to I-91 northbound in Hartford. Sorry about that. My name is James Barrows II, and I'm the project manager with the Department of Transportation's Major Bridges and Structures Unit within the Division of Bridges. For those of you that are joining this meeting tonight who would like to use non-English captions, you can turn on closed captioning by clicking the Show Captions CC option from the bottom toolbar, depicted in Circle 1 on the screen. After that, click Speaking Languages and select the desired language. The agenda for tonight's meeting includes an overview of how to submit questions and comments, followed by an introduction of the project team. Then we will go through the technical portion of the project, which will describe the existing condition, the purpose and needs of our project, the department's recommendation, and potential impacts to everyone else. After that, we will have a question and answer session where you can provide comments. Before we get started, I want to talk about Title VI, your civil rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participating or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. A link to the department's Office of Equity, which has more information on your civil rights, can be accessed by the link on this slide or from the project webpage. Lastly, from this slide, you can access a voluntary post-meeting survey. This can be accessed by scanning the QR code that is on the screen or by going to https://portal.ct.gov/ctdot survey. Here's more information on Sorry about this. I don't know why it keeps skipping the slide. Here's more information on Title VI civil rights. This slide is in Spanish, but I'm going to read the first paragraph in English. The Connecticut Department of Transportation, CTTOT, operates its programs and services without regards to race, color, and national origins in accordance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discrimination practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Department of Transportation. You can also file a complaint with the Federal Transit Authorities or the Federal Highway Administration. There are 3 ways that you can reach out to the project team and provide comments and questions. The first is by email. The project email is dotprojects0063-0731@ct.gov, and spelled that is dotproject0063-0731@ct.gov. If you would prefer to submit a question by phone, you can call us at 860-594-2020. Please note that this is an unmanned phone and it's a voicemail box. And please remember to state your name and reference the project, which is 63-731, when you're leaving your voicemail. The last way you can talk to us is by Zoom using the Q&A feature. I'll go more into depth in the next slide on how you can do this. The phone number, email, and additional project information can be found on the project webpage at https://portal.ct.gov/DOT Hartford 63-731. Please note that sending questions through Zoom can only be done during tonight's presentation. The email and voicemail will be available through May 7th, 2024. If you would like to submit questions tonight through Zoom, you can select the Q&A tool at the bottom of your Zoom webinar window. This will make a Zoom Q&A window appear, as you can see on the screen in box 2. Then you will click on where it says type your question here. to type your question, and when you're finished, you can click enter. If you are an audio-only participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand for questions. The project team from the Department of Transportation includes Bao Chong, Principal Engineer of the Major Bridges and Structures Unit within the Division of Bridges. As previously mentioned, I am James Barrows II, Supervising Engineer and Project Manager for this project, and Sarwat Basha is the Project Engineer for this project. The consultant designer for this project is CHA Consulting, and from their firm, we have Ryan Cooley, who's the Project Manager, Dan Hoffman as the Structures Lead, and Jeff LeMay as the Highways Lead. CHA Consulting will be utilizing VN Engineers as a sub-consultant, and from VN Engineers, we have Sam Martha as the traffic lead. I will now hand the presentation over to Dan Hoffman for the formal presentation.
Hey, thank you, James. As James noted, I am Dan Hoffman from CHA, designer on the project, and today we're going to be discussing state project number 63731, bridge number 05868, also known as the I-84 Flyover Bridge. So the purpose of this project is to maintain the bridge in a state of good repair. Project needs include increase the service life, replace the wearing surface and membrane waterproofing, repair, replace, or plug existing deck leak drains, patch existing substructure, and address the cracking in the pier caps and columns. First, we'll go over the project location. So bridge number 05868, the I-84 Flyover Bridge, carries I-84 eastbound turning road 839 to I-91 northbound. This is exit 51 on I-84 eastbound. The bridge carries the ramp traffic over local roads Morgan Street and Market Street, as well as I-84, I-91, several ramps, and the CSO Railroad. The bridge was built in 1990. In 2012, rehabilitation was performed, which consisted of wrapping Pier 2 in a fiber reinforced polymer, also known as FRP wrap, coating Pier 5 in a protective sealer, and replacing the modular expansion joints on the bridge. Here's a colored plan and elevation view of the I-84 Flyover Bridge. This view shows the first half of the bridge. The bridge has a total length of 1,726 feet, consisting of 9 spans. The structure is comprised of a concrete deck supported by 2 steel tub girders. The 9 spans are split into 3 3-span continuous segments. Spans 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9 are each of the 3-span continuous segments. The superstructure is supported by concrete abutments and piers. This is a plan and elevation of the second half of the bridge. This view shows a cross-section of the bridge. So the ramp is a single lane of traffic from exit 51 on I-84 eastbound, carrying the traffic to I-91 northbound. The lane varies in width on the bridge from 12 foot 7 inches at abutment 1, and then widens out to 14 feet at Pier 1 and remains 14 feet for the rest of the bridge. The roadway maintains a 6-foot left shoulder and a 10-foot right shoulder throughout. Before getting into the existing conditions, I thought it would be useful to note how condition ratings are determined and the purpose of them. Per the Connecticut DOT Bridge Inspection Manual, a condition rating is a judgment of a bridge component condition in comparison to its original as-built condition, used to provide an overall characterization of the general condition of the component being rated. Condition ratings are assigned a numerical value, each indicating a different condition, as shown on the screen. To help clarify the elements of the bridge that we will be discussing, we've included this graphic. The deck is the surface that you drive on. The parapets are the safety barriers on the edge of the deck. The deck is supported by beams, and this makes up the superstructure of the bridge. substructure is what supports the superstructure from below. This consists of abutments and wing walls at the ends of the bridge and piers located as needed to provide intermediate supports. Now I will discuss the existing conditions of the I-84 flyover bridge. For the deck, overall, the deck is noted to be in good condition. The bridge has stay-in-place forms between the box girder flanges and has no notable deficiencies. The underside of the deck overhang shows random areas of light scaling, linear cracks, and minor spalls. The condition of the deck is mostly unknown due to the bituminous concrete-wearing surface on top, as well as the stay-in-place forms on the underside. The existing deck drains are in fair condition, with random deck drains having broken or short weep pipes. Some locations have been plugged previously, but are still observed to be leaking on the structure. Existing deck joints are in satisfactory condition. They're modular deck joints with concrete headers located at abutments 1 and 2 and piers 3 and 6. The concrete headers exhibit minor transverse cracks, vertical misalignment up to a 1/4 inch at abutment 2. There's random sand and debris within the joint glands, and the sliding plate at abutment 2 has a 3-inch high gap at the base. At abutment 2, there's also approximately 3-inch undermining of the joint at the north end due to a spall at the back wall. The bridge has concrete parapets with sloped granite curbs and an aluminum bridge rail. Concrete parapets are in good condition, and the curbs and railings are in satisfactory condition. Overall, the approaches are in satisfactory condition. There are no approach slabs per the existing plans. The approach pavement is noted to be in good condition with minor defects such as light ravel, 1/2-inch wide separations between bituminous and concrete joint headers. Approach parapets are located at the southwest approaches and the northwest corner of the bridge. These parapets have random vertical cracks with efflorescence, random areas of scaling, and minor impact scrapes. There is an impact attenuation system at the gore of I-84 and the bridge. The approach guardrail at the northeast corner has some minor impact damage and appears to meet RB 350 standards. Overall, the superstructure is in good condition. The bearings are in satisfactory condition. The bearings consist of both fixed and expansion pot bearings and are original to the structure. Deteriorations in the bearings include light to moderate rust with isolated locations of heavy rusting, loose PTFE strips, and loss of elastomer at isolated locations. The girders are in good condition. The girders exhibit less than 5% paint deterioration. As shown on the slide, the field splice bolts are rusting with failed paint. The girders have random locations of light to moderate rust with isolated areas of heavy to laminated rust adjacent to failed deck drains. Section loss is negligible. The interior of the girders have locations of rust at lateral bracing connections, some staining at the bottom flanges, and loose bird screens at the end diaphragms. There's built up pigeon debris at locations within the girders as well. Overall, the substructure is in satisfactory condition. Substructure consists of reinforced concrete abutments and piers with post-tension pier caps. Concrete abutments exhibit isolated hairline cracks, hollow areas, and leakage of backfill material through the drainage weep pipe at abutment 1. The back walls have a few moderate spalls. The wing walls are in good condition and exhibit minor defects such as hairline cracks. The pier columns and caps are in satisfactory condition. Columns have up to full width and full height hairline map cracking. Post-tension pier caps have random hairline map cracking and diagonal cracks to full height and width of the pier caps and underside, the cap faces and undersides. There are isolated locations of horizontal or diagonal cracks up to 1/32 inch wide. As noted earlier, Pier 2 was previously wrapped with FRP, and Pier 5 was coated with protective sealer to address the crackings. The grout pads are noted as having random cracks up to full perimeter hollow areas and spalls up to 3 inches deep. However, no undermining of the bearings is noted. As stated before, the purpose of this project is to maintain a state of good repair. Project needs include extending the service life, replacing the wearing surface and membrane waterproofing, repairing deck drains, and repairing the substructure. The major scope of work items includes replacing the wearing surface and membrane waterproofing, repairing the concrete decks and parapets, removing the aluminum bridge railing and constructing a 10-inch concrete cap on top of the parapets, repairing, replacing, or plugging the deck weep pipes, repairing concrete headers, removing debris accumulation from expansion joints, and replacing the expansion joint at abutment 2. Installing new chevron curve signs on parapet mounted sign supports along the southeast parapet. Some spot cleaning and painting of the structural steel where required. Replacing the mesh at the ends of the tub girders and removing the pigeon waste from inside the tub girders. Cleaning and painting the bearings, repairing the pedestals. Crack injection and applying a crack bridging protective coating to the pier caps and columns. Substructure repairs to the abutments and wing walls. Installing new MASH compliant guide rail bridge attachments and MASH compliant impact attenuator at the exit 51 gore. Other minor items include coating the parapets with a penetrating sealer, cleaning debris from the abutment seats, some minor full depth pavement construction, and milling and overlay of the approaches. Next, we're going to highlight some of the proposed work. First is the parapet cap. The existing parapet has an aluminum bridge railing on top. The railing has minor scrapes from impact, up to 8-inch long cracks, and some backed out or missing anchor bolts. Under the proposed condition, the railing will be removed and replaced with a concrete cap. This will provide a solid concrete parapet 42 inches from the pavement and improves the safety. Overall, the deck joints are in satisfactory condition with minor deteriorations. The abutment 2 joint location has the majority of the deficiencies, including some spalling on the back wall that is undermining the bridge joint support, a noticeable grade drop coming off the bridge at this location, and a gap at the sliding steel plate in the parapet that could cause further deterioration. The proposed condition is to replace this modular joint at this location with a preformed joint seal and elastomeric concrete headers. This will allow the back wall spalls to be properly repaired. It'll eliminate the concrete headers and allow a smoother transition off the bridge. The sliding steel plate will also be addressed. Quickly touching on the highway geometrics of the project site. As you can see, the bridge is fairly heavily traveled with an ADT of around 23,500 for the single lane. Horizontally, the bridge is located on a horizontal curve with tangents present at both approaches. Vertically, the bridge is on a crest vertical curve, carrying the traffic up and over the roadways below. The project will not change any of the highway geometrics. The environmental resources are listed on this slide. There are no wetlands within the project area. Wetland impacts and permits are not anticipated. Stage construction on the bridge will be used for milling and overlaying, repairing the concrete deck, installing the membrane waterproofing, capping the concrete parapets, and replacing the expansion joint at abutment 2. Not all of the deck area can be worked on behind the barrier, so as anticipated, a portion of the deck repairs, joint work, and paving will be accomplished using temporary off-peak lane closures of the bridge with a detour. Adjacent roadways will have temporary off-peak lane and shoulder closures as well to perform substructure repairs. Just a note, off-peak hours refers to nighttime and/or weekend hours when traffic volumes are lower. There are no anticipated impacts to utilities or rights of way. So this slide shows the conceptual detour for this bridge during off-peak hours. Traffic would be diverted across the Bulkley Bridge into East Hartford, turn around and come back on I-84 westbound to get to I-91 northbound. The detour length is approximately 1.5 miles. I'd like to note that CHA is also the designers on the Bulkley Bridge Rehabilitation project. and will further coordinate and evaluate the traffic impacts during final design for both projects. We are currently evaluating the location below the I-84 bridges adjacent to Market Street and Morgan Street as a laydown area. This has been used previously as equipment material laydown area, and other areas may be identified and evaluated during the final design. Schedule and construction cost. For schedule, we are currently in the preliminary design phase and will be moving to final design later this spring and early summer. Some key dates are shown on this slide. Start of construction is anticipated to be spring of 2026. The estimated construction cost of the project is $7.3 million, which is funded by 90% federal funds and 10% state funds. There are no town or city funds required. I should note that the cost and schedule are preliminary and are subject to change as design progresses. This concludes my presentation, and hand it back over to James.
Thank you for that, Dan. So as Dan said, this concludes the technical portion of the presentation, and we will now open the floor up for any questions or comments that the public may have. As I had previously mentioned, there are 3 ways that you can reach out to the project team and provide comments and questions. The first is by email at dotproject006-731@ct.gov. You can leave a voicemail at 860-594-2020, or you can submit a question tonight through Zoom on the Q&A option. So it does look like we have received an email question by email, and that question is, will this project require funds from the city of Hartford? Dan, I can answer that question. So as Dan had previously mentioned, this project will not require funds from the city of Hartford. It'll be funded by federal and state funds, being 90% federally funded and 10% state funded. It looks like we have another question by voicemail, and that is, are there any utility impacts during the course of this project? CHA, do you want to handle this question?
Yeah, I can take that. No, there are no utilities on the bridge except for the light standards. No impacts to any utilities are anticipated.
Thank you for that, Dan. So as I said, if you want to submit any questions, you can do so via email, phone, or by the Zoom Q&A. If you would like to submit an email question, you can do it at dotproject0063-0731@ct.gov, by phone at 860-594-2020, or through the Zoom Q&A chat feature. I would like to point out again that the Zoom Q&A chat feature is only available during tonight's live session and will not be available after tonight. The email and phone number will both be monitored through May 7th, 2024. And more information following this meeting can be found at the project webpage, which is https://portal.ct.gov/dot Hartford 63-731. It looks like we have received another question, and the question is, what is a weep pipe and why are you repairing them? Dan from CHA, do you want to take this question?
Yep, I can take that. So yeah, a deck weep pipe is a drainage pipe that's located below the pavement, between the concrete deck. This is to collect and drain any water that may get underneath the pavement, so keeps it from sitting there between the pavement and the concrete deck that could freeze and then cause further issues. So these pipes then drain that water away. One of the issues is sometimes they become broken, or if they're short, then they can leak water onto the steel structure, which can lead to deterioration and rusting of the steel.
Thank you for that, Dan. Again, if you would like to submit any questions, you can do so by email, phone number, or by chat. The email again is dotprojects0063-0731@ct.gov. The phone number is 860-594-2020, or you can submit questions through the Zoom Q&A feature. It looks like we've received another question. The question is, will there be any impacts to the Riverwalk North Trail along the river? Dan, would you like
Yeah,
to take this question?
yep. There's no impacts to that trail system as anticipated. Our project is kind of outside of that area. And yeah, no impacts anticipated.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that. I will wait a little bit longer to see if we get any more questions. For the last time, questions could be submitted by email at dotproject0063-731@ct.gov, by phone number at 860-594-2020. Please, if you do leave a voicemail, include your name and reference the project, which is project 63-731. Those two options, by email and by phone, will be available from now through May 7th, 2024. The Zoom Q&A feature will not be available after tonight. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. So this concludes the open forum and this virtual public information meeting. Thank you for attending. Again, you can submit questions by email or by voicemail till May 7th, 2024. More information can be found on the project webpage, which is https://portal.ct.gov/DOT Hartford 63-731. Spelled out, that is https://portal period CT period GOV/DOT HARTFORD 63-731. Thank you and have a good evening.